want you to do it again, Dad. Bend over.
Children?
Yes, I have one girl. She's 2 years old.
Do you discipline her?
Well, actually, no, not right now. I speak to her and tell her not to touch things and leave things alone, you know, constantly talking to her because I feel like she doesn't understand right now to be so young. This is my first baby, so no, I don't.
Well, hello. Dr. Michael Mirander here, and another medical minute. Today we want to talk about childhood discipline. More than often a very taboo subject. We're primarily focusing on an article from the American Academy of Family Physicians. Discipline is important. A lot of time it's enforced to teach children social and moral standards. Sometimes it's used to actually help the child to protect themselves. And also discipline is used to help children to recognize other persons' property and private possessions. Discipline should be prompt, should be appropriate to the crime, should be consistent and reasonable. One should recognize that some indiscipline is triggered by factors such as maybe the child is tired, maybe the child is hungry, maybe the child is under duress. A lot of times there's quite a bit of behavioral problems seen in broken homes. And sometimes it's just hard to cross the barrier to get to discuss the points that are triggering the indiscipline. Then again, sometimes the child is just attention seeking. And at all times, parents should be having time to spend with their children so that the children won't need to be attention seeking. Many times, one should communicate with their children, trying to explain to them how not to get into a problem, and sometimes why discipline is necessary. For a child under 18 months, this would not be of very much credibility. But children who can understand, you try to explain to them verbally many are the do's and the don'ts. In the home, it should be an agreed position by both parents as to what is inappropriate behavior. Can't have one parent saying it's alright and the other parent say it's a no-no. Rules should be few so that children could understand. They should be simple and practical. A good way to prevent indiscipline is to reinforce good behavior. Reinforce good behavior by smiles, gestures of affection, sometimes privileges, but acknowledgement and praise and focusing on good behavior is a good way to steer away from bad behavior. But still, sometimes punishment is necessary. One should try not to enforce an action that is shameful to the child or teasing, and also to say that it's the action that is bad and not the child that is bad. It is the act that is bad, not the child. Sometimes disciplinary measures are extinctive. For instance, a child with temper tantrums. It's sometimes best not to notice them. And a lot of times these tantrums would go away because they don't attract the attention that many times the toddler is just trying to generate. Timeout is another extension mechanism that is functional in children from 18 months to about 5 or 7 years old. Timeout should be about 1 minute per year in length. I mean, if a child is 5 years old, then a 5-minute timeout is a reasonable time. And during that time, you'd want to see controlled behavior for 15-20 seconds at least. And it does have efficacy, especially in the young age group. So at times, corporal punishment is inflicted by over 90% of our population. For most situations, it seemed to be a taboo area, unacceptable to public. statements. Still, the acceptable standing for corporal punishment is using the hand to spank the buttocks or the limb of a child, but certainly not to use any kind of objects, sticks, belts, weapons, anything that would cause a mark. There's a thin line between child abuse and corporal punishment. So one has to be very careful not to react in anger, as they ought not to do in any punishment situation, so that they would be controlled, like count to 10 before you do something that you'll regret later. Well, just a medical minute, touching on some of the points of childhood discipline. Dr. Miranda here. Look forward to seeing you again on another medical minute.
Don't you do it again, Dad. Bend over.